Although we just did that one, didn't we? Yeah, this one doesn't kill us to do it. Let's do it again. We're gonna divide 87,456 by 23. What's the dividend? 87,456. What's the divisor? 23, good. First goal. How many times 23 enters 87? How many times? 3. All right, you figured that out. What do you do with 323? Multiply. What do you get? 69. After you figure out that 69, what do you do with it? What do you get? 18? 87. Next move. Drop forward. How many times is 23 and 184? 8 is not wrong. It's perfect. Subtract, you get a 0. So this is this doesn't happen a whole lot, but you bring down the 5 and we'll 23 under 5. You need to put a 0 up there. I don't know if you remember that or not. You got to put that 0 there because it couldn't happen. Then you bring down your 6 and with 23 enter 56. Twice. That'll give you 46. Subtract, you get a 10. What is that 10? That's the remainder. Now in here we write things out plus the 10 pieces of the original 23. We always write things out, the remainder over the divisor. Anyways, there's long division. That's what we're doing today, but not with numbers, kids. With x's. Now, before we do that, let's go over some prereq stuff. There's a typo here. It's supposed to be asking what is f of negative 3. So you were told that x plus 3 is a factor. What's that mean f of negative 3 is? Too bad the software just crashed. Already had a perfectly good graph up. All right, that parabola, it has a root at negative 2. What's the factor? Factor. No, you're not saying it right. X plus 2. It has a root at 3. What's the factor? Okay. What is f of negative 3 equal to? If it is a factor. No, I am not saying that. I'm not saying that. What is it equal to? Factors are formed by looking at what intercepts. X-intercepts. So I know that f of negative 3 is saying that x is negative 3. What is it equal to? 0. On the other side of equality symbol, there's going to be y, kids, and the y value on the x-axis is 0. Factors are another way of talking about zeros, another way of talking about x-intercepts. All right, the polynomial has roots, which we also call what? X-intercepts, anything else? Zeros. At negative 4, 0, 3, 0, and negative 12, 0. What is the polynomial in factored form? So again, we have a 0 at negative 4, 0. What's the factor that creates it? X plus 4. We have a 0 at 3, 0. What's the factor that makes it? X minus 3. We have a 0 at negative 12, 0. What's the factor that makes it? You see how hard this skill is? Why can't you retain it for 24 hours? I don't get it. Retain it. All right, something that was on your last basics quiz. More of this F notation stuff. If f of 3 is a 0, f of 2 of 12 is a 3, f of 0 is 0, f of 9 is a 3, and f of negative 2 is a 0, and a is negative 4, what is the polynomial in its factored form? Factors care about zeros, don't they? Such things can be thrown out the window. Focus on your zeros. F of 3 is a 0. What's the factor? X minus 3. F of 0 is a 0. What's the factor? I have issues with kids who write down either x plus 0 or x minus 0. You get judged harshly. Go on, what's your weight? What's your weight, Sean? Good Lord. Dang. If we take his weight, 290, and we add 0 to it, what do we still have? 290. If we take away 0, what do we still have? Why would you write down x minus 0? What is it? It's x. Traditionally, those are put up front. F of negative 2 is a 0. What's the factor? Plus 2. Now, A is mentioned. Where does A go? Front's first letter of the alphabet. Goes in the front. All right. That's that. Now we can do some long division. The next thing in your notes, I think, is a note slide. We've already talked about it, so we're not going to mess with it. All right, divide. F of x equals x cubed plus 7x squared minus 25x minus 75 by x plus 5. Write small. What goes inside the long division bracket? The first thing. X cubed plus 7x squared. 25x minus 75. What's the divisor? Plus 5. Our goal here is to figure out what the quotient is. Now, on the previous example, the goal was to figure out how many times a number entered another number. It's still the same. Focus on the leading piece of x plus 5, the x. That's where your focus is always at. Will x enter x cubed? Yes. How many times? What do you got, Michael? Wouldn't that 5 be the 5%? Typo? Thank you. Minus 25x minus 75. How many times is x enter x cubed? 3. 3 times x is 3x. 2 times x is 2x. Okay, let's change the way I question. What do you multiply x by to become x cubed? X. There you go. X enters x cubed, x squared times. Because x times x squared is x cubed. Now, invoke your distributive property, because you're not just one number out front, there's 2 things. What's x squared times x plus 5? X cubed plus 5x squared. The rules of long division haven't changed. What's the next step going to be? Subtract. Wrap before you subtract, or you'll make sign mistakes. You don't wrap that, all you'll do is you'll take away the first term and you'll trust the sign on the second one. Always wrap before you subtract. X cubed minus x cubed is nothing, right? What is 7x squared minus 5x squared? 2x squared. What was the next thing you would have done? It had just been a number. Drop down your 25x. Now, what do I want to turn that leading x into? Not x squared, it's 2x squared. What do you multiply x by to become 2x squared? 2x. And what property do you get to use? Starts with D. Distributive. What is 2x times x plus 5? 2x. Plus. Again, you need to be wrapping before you be subtracting. All right. Next, the leading pieces will always cancel each other out. Always. So it's a negative 25x take away a positive 10x. What is it? Negative 35. It's negative 25. Keep counting to the left. 10 places. Negative 35. Carry down your negative 75. And what do you multiply that leading x by to become a negative 35x? Negative 35. Negative 35. That gives you a negative 35x minus 175. I told you to write small. Yeah. What is a negative 75 take away negative 175? Legit fifth grade math. Negative 75 take away negative 175.
If you put negative 35, negative 31, would that had to be 75?
It's a negative take away negative. A negative take away negative is addition. You mean, oh, we've been pushing that rule down your throat since fifth grade. Make it stick. So you do negative 75 take away negative 175 and you get positive what? 100. Are you going to be able to turn that x out front into that 100? No. There's your remainder. You have 100 pieces of the divisor x plus 5. There's a question there. Arden, what did I say I would do with your grade this 6 weeks if you made a good one? Yeah. Can't be sleeping. Sleep in some other class. Was x plus 5 a factor of the original polynomial? I got a head nod and yes. I got a head nod and no. Why is 2 a factor of 8? Yeah, I hate that button gets set up, but that's not the reason. What is 8 divided by 2? With a remainder of 0. Remainders determine whether you're factors or not. Did we have a remainder? Yes. What was it? So, was this a factor? No. It had a remainder. Here's a good quick way to see if you did your algebra right. It says, what is f of negative 5? Well, let's just do that the way we've been taught to do that. You saw f of negative 5, what do you let x be? So plug a negative 5 in to the original function and see what it's supposed to get. Push some buttons, kids, do something. Plug a negative 5 in it then. See what you get. I got 100. What you should have got. You get 100, you push buttons wrong. Kind of interesting that when you plug in a number, you get 100. What was the remainder? Numerically, it was just 100. Turns out that the remainder of long division is the same exact thing as plugging in a number. It's like if you do some long division, if you want to know you're right, just plug in the opposite. Like x plus 5 is, x is what? Negative 5. We change signs. That's how these kind of things work. Interesting that works that way. I'll have a shortcut to some of this. All right. I'm going to get you guys started on this one. Then I'm going to see what you can do. So use the fact that x plus 6 is a factor of 2x cubed plus 12x squared minus 4x minus 24 to completely factor the polynomial. Before we start, since x plus 6 is a factor, what does that mean f of negative 6 is? Sorry, what f of what is 0? Yeah, I gotta give that one right. Anyways, let's set this up. What goes inside the square, or the divisor bracket?
2x plus 12, 2x cubed plus 12x squared minus 4, minus 24.
Goes on the outside of it.
X plus 6.
X plus 6. I know division happened because I was told it was a factor, which means I'm gonna have a remainder of what? 0. Anyways, how about it? Do some long division. Nobody needs yet. Jesus, man. Why are you your own worst enemy, Orton? The future is built in the present. You can't change the past. If you do everything right, you're going to get a 0 for a remainder. Not wrapping before you do some traveling. Let's do it. Let's hold on this 12. 2. Let's do that. 2 times 2. I don't know where you're getting so much for it. That's why I would do. Let's see. But you have 2x squared times x, which is 2x cubed. Oh, and how x squared means x cubed minus x squared times x. So if you bring it down to, you'll have to. Would it be paid? Yeah, first two months. Oh, you just shipped it. Yeah. What's the? You're gonna need a 2x squared. X squared times x. This height. This was the result of x and negative. 8 plus 4 is 12. Not if they're going that close. I guess you already know that. You told me. Tear down another piece, Steve.
I just had to fix it right now.
By all means, we discovered something, I can do some more. Those of you in the cheap seats, if you multiply x by 2x squared, you'll get 2x cubed. Two times 6 is 12, so plus 12x squared. Wrap before you subtract. What happens to both pieces? Both pieces cancel out. So you actually had to bring down 2 more pieces because there's 2 pieces here. You're gonna need to bring down 2 pieces. Now, what do you multiply x by to become a negative 4x? Negative 4. You distribute, x times negative 4 is negative 4x. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. What's going to happen with those things? They cancel out. You had to have a remainder of 0.
So why should not be part of the square?
Then you made a mistake somewhere.
Why should you not do it?
You made a mistake somewhere. It gives 2x squared minus 4.
I had 2x squared, I'll have a 4.
Then you made a what somewhere? Look at it. Somewhere you made a mistake. You should not have a positive 4. It's probably a simple, you changed the sign, didn't realize it.
I have all that right, I don't know why. I know why I got all of it right, I did plus 4.
And you need to fix it. Because is it +4? Alright, so this was, we're supposed to do what here? Completely factor? Alright, so x plus 6 entered this thing. What was left? Once we divided it out, we got 2x squared minus 4. 2x squared minus 4 is a factor. Is it completely factorable? Is there still a little more factoring you can do? 2x squared minus 4, what do they have in common? They have 2 in common. You can pull that 2. Alright, so you'll have x plus 6 times a 2 times x squared minus what? 2. Where do you think that 2 actually belongs? Let me see. It belongs in front. It just looks weird in the middle. Because that's the letter what? A. That's the completely factored form. Does x squared minus 2 factor with nice numbers? No, it doesn't. It does factor, but not with nice numbers. It's not in the algebra 2 standard anymore. It's actually x plus root 2, x minus root 2. All right, let's do another one of these, let you guys get some practice. You are told f of 3 is 0. Use that to completely factor that 4th degree polynomial. So f of 3 is a 0. What is the factor? Stay awake, it's x minus 3. No, I probably should have put that in a different place. The factor is x minus 3. That's also your divisor. Divide it out, see what remains. Take another shot at figuring out long division, kids. And you know that's a 0, so what should you remember? 0. When we remainder 0, you got some wrong. The quotient that you create will factor. Factor that. What factors is used for this one? That's your cube, right? Bring down these 2 pieces. The piece that you create up there in the quotient, your result, it will factor. It is literally yesterday's lesson. How cool, man. You should hold the x there. Because that becomes x would be x squared. You multiply x by x, I mean x. 8 is positive. What's your description? That's right. Oh boy, it's almost go time. All right. Most of you figured out you need an x cubed. I'll give you x to the fourth minus 3x cubed. What happens? Cancel out. Drop down your 8x minus 24. What do you multiply x by to become 8x? 8. So there's two factors. X minus 3 times x cubed plus 8. Anybody figure out how x cubed plus 8 factors? Briley, what'd you say? No, that's the idiot answer when we talk about EOC review.
X squared minus 2x plus 2.
There's more to it than that.
Oh, yeah.
A cubed plus b cubed is a plus b. What goes in the second step? This is yesterday's lesson, kids. A squared. Minus right equal b squared. Now, if you're looking at x cubed plus 8, a is going to be x, because x times x times x is x cubed. B is going to be what? 2. So it's going to be x plus 2. That's a plus b. X squared. Take away 2 times x. 2x plus 2 squared, which is 4. Maybe you guys should ask me questions on that. I don't know. Maybe you're blindly copying somebody's homework and thinking that you can do it. Turns out you can't. Memorize your patterns. We're done for the day. We'll go over that homework tomorrow.